Hi, it's Teacher Janelle. I'm going to have to talk to you about imperatives today, so bear with me. Let's take that tour. Imperatives. These are words that may not be usually used in our daily conversations, but these are things that are actually happening in front of us. But we don't label it as imperatives because we don't do labels most of the time. We just do things because they need to be done. So go straight to the point. Imperatives, these are plainly verbs. Yes, they are verbs. They're verbs that are used to give orders or commands. Well, yeah, that is something that you are always asked to. When you are giving directions or instructions, that is an imperative. When you make a request, plus the word please, that is an imperative. Sometimes when we get bored with the word please, we use the word kindly. And then when we give advice or suggestions, that indeed is an imperative. When we give warnings, when we invite someone, that is an imperative. Now, before we go to the examples of these, I want to talk to you about the forms. There are two forms, the affirmative and the negative form. So the affirmative, when you say, go to my house, that is affirmative because that is positive. You have a go. The do button tells you to go to the house. That's a positive. But when we say negative, you can just say, don't go to the house or don't ever go to the house. I put an ever because I want to put an emphasis on the doing. There is a time expression that would tell me I should not be there. So there is the not and the ever that goes with whether or not it should be done or should we take this lightly or not. Okay. Now, another thing, you need to consider that when you write an imperative, there is no need for you to write the subject because it is understood that you are the subject. So it is assumed that I, who is giving the imperative, is talking to you. So you are the subject all the time. So that means we always start with the verb, the base form of the verb. So you say, go to my house. Go is the base form of the verb. You don't say goes to my house. You don't say went to my house. When you ask someone to do something, use the base form of the verb. Clean your teeth. Gargle properly. Okay, that is an imperative in using the base form of the verb. Of course, you start with the capital letter because it still is a sentence and you end with a period. Then that's basically it. Okay, let's go to the examples. Giving orders or commands. The one I just told you. Go to my house. That's an order. It's a command. You cannot say no. Go to my house immediately. Now, by using the time expression immediately, I'm actually putting an emphasis on the urgency of the matter. So the urgency of the command. Go to my house immediately. Okay, don't dilly-dally. It has to be immediately. How about giving directions or instructions? I can give directions like when you reach, example, turn left when you see the sign. Or you can say, walk to your right when you reach the line. Okay, so those are instructions. When you are looking at your test paper, there are also directions there. Choose the best answer or underline the word that corresponds to the given image. Okay, that's a direction or that's an instruction. How about when you make requests? Well, simply you put please. Please listen carefully. That's a request. But sometimes request and command don't look the way they are because a command could become a request. Because you're not using the word please, it doesn't mean it's not a request anymore. When I'm transferring it in situations. In regular situations, when you're not reading your sentence anymore, you are already talking to people. When you say, please go to my house, that's a request. Go to my house with a smile on your face, go to my house. That's still a request because of the way it was delivered. Now, how about if I'm using please, but I am actually putting urgency into the statement, but I say, please go to my house now. That is not a request anymore because there is so much authority in it, though it's using the word please. So see, it's not black and white. There is still something in between. So not because you're using please, you're actually just putting a request, because you can make a command with the use of please, but with an authoritative voice. Okay? How about give advice or suggestions? When you give an advice, suggestions, you mostly go with the affirmative form. You buy a cheaper one. Choose a simpler design. That's an advice or suggestion. The thing with advice and suggestion, mostly people get offended when their advice or suggestion is not being followed well. You are just there to give an advice or suggestion. It is still the ones you're suggesting to make the decision final. Okay, but we are still there to give the suggestion or the advice because we are the friends. That's our role, but do not get offended. Go on giving an advice. Okay. How about when you give warnings? When we give warnings, that's usually in the negative form. Yeah, because when you say warning, there is something negative there. And you are asking people to be cautious. So don't build your house near the river. So perhaps there's something in the river. Or, well, it's understandable that when the river gets flooded, it's a dangerous place to build a house. So when you say don't ever build your house by the river, you are actually giving the zero opportunity, because you said don't ever. There's a zero opportunity that your house should be built there. So that's a warning. So coming from the person, there must be something off in that river. Okay, so usually warnings are in negative form. Sometimes it looks like the opposite of advice, because advice is affirmative and the warning is negative. How about when we invite someone? For example, you say, please come to my house at 7 for dinner tonight. That's an invitation. Please come to my house. Is it all right if I don't use please? Yes, it's okay. You can just say, go to my house at 7 for dinner tonight. That's an invitation. Okay, so that's basically it. That's imperatives. So again, when we are writing the imperatives, that's the way they are. They are written like that, so we use the right words. But when we are expressing imperatives in conversations, it matters how we say them. Whether or not it is a request, especially when we are talking about request and a command. When it is a command, when it is a request. In written form, it's very easy to see it. But in conversations, it might not be as easy as it is. So be careful with how you express your imperatives. Okay, so that's basically it. I hope you're learning something. So the form of the imperative is just the base form of the verb. So that's it. Bye-bye for now. Ta-ta.